Welcome to this session, the Test Drive 7th virtual meetup. So today we will have Maheshwaran. So before starting, I would like to give a huge shout out to Browser Stack, our exclusive sponsor for all community events and premier sponsor for all conferences. Because of them, we are able to provide you all the knowledge and all the events that helps you. So thank you to them. So Maheshwaran, by summarizing he his whole professional and personal life, he will summarize it in one quote, and that is, more than results, the process is most important. He's a quality driven software engineer with 9 plus years of experience in healthcare and linguistic domain. He provides testing guidelines and automation solutions to business problems by understanding the system architecture and requirement. He is a creative problem solver with self motivation and determination. So I would like to call him up on the stage with his topic where he'll talk about, it's summer already, so let's have some cucumber. So he'll talk about the tool cucumber. Um,
Uh, Thank you much. Hope my audio is very clear to you.
yes, audio is audible. You can try sharing your screen also once.
Sure. Hope you can
Yes,
able to
it's
see.
visible.
Right. So, once again, thank you so much for the warm welcome, and thank you, team members who was uh, joined this session. I know it is Saturday, and we are here to learn something new out of this free time. So we all are already taken a advanced step of learning. So let's be proud of ourselves to spending this quality time in learning. So yeah, so thanks again for joining, and I want to thank Test Drive community also to provide this opportunity to me, which is obviously a two-way learning. We are giving back to the community, and we are learning it from them. So we are doing that. I'm also been part of multiple virtual meetups organized by them. So they are doing a fantastic job, and I'm very happy and glad to be a speaker here. So thank you so much for that. So let's start with today's session. I promise that it's going to be really interesting, and you all will heard the word cucumber, and you all know what cucumber is, what it has from the experience which you got. But I will assure that I will provide some deep insights of what is cucumber, and I will make sure that I provide some extra information which you uh, don't know or much not aware of uh, till now. So, with that being said, so the little agenda for today will be a little introduction about myself, and we will start with how Cucumber works, and we will go through the feature files. What are feature files, and step definitions, and how Cucumber actually execute a scenario, and then we will take up the questions if we have. So this is a little agenda for today. So, little brief introduction about myself. I have, as everyone knows, my name is Maheshwaran, and I have around 10 years of total industry experience, total IT industry. I have started my career in 2013 as a QA, and since I started, I am working as a QA only. So currently, I'm working in an Elixir Labs, and I'm working as a lead engineer in automation. So I think much of this has been covered uh, by Vanchikal already. So I don't want to waste myself time. And for the past 2 years, I think I'm more into coaching and mentoring people on testing and testing related problems and solutions. Currently, I'm learning about AI and ML penetration into each field, each technological field. I'm doing more research on how it is, how it can assist the testing, and how it can help us to improve our testing techniques, and how it can make us grow in the process which we are currently doing it. So, uh, one thing which I can mention based on my research, which I'm doing for the past 3 to 4 months, AI and ML will not replace testers for sure. It will be it will assist them for sure. So please take up and learn the things in like AI and like ML. So this is going to be our future for sure. So with that, let me So to start with, like any project or any software or anything which is related to technology is always starts with an idea. Like let's say it might be from the business side, business people's side, it might be from the technology side. If we want to build something, or if we want to upgrade something, let it be a feature, let it be a small text box, or let it be a small link which we are providing, which we want to put it in a particular page of our application. It's all start with an idea from a particular person, right? Uh, so how an idea can be transferred from one person's mind to other person's mind. So that is the biggest challenge which we have in the software development, because we all are played this game once in our lifetime. Let's say there are 10 people standing in a row, and if we say something to the first people, and we ask us to pass the information to the next people, that 10th people who is conveying the message will not be the same what we have told to the first people. So I'm not sure about the name of this game, but you all understood, right? So that is when the information pass from one people to other people, there are high chances that the information can be uh, changed based on the person's perspective. So it might be, let's say, the chances of misunderstanding or misconception in this process is very very high. So what it can leads into, so we all know, we are all are working in a project development, software development. The if there is a communication miss in any of the cycle which you follow, it will lead to a buggy product or defective product which our client or customer will not accept, and it will ends up in dissatisfaction of the customer. So we don't want to that. We don't want that to happen for sure. We are working towards delivering happiness to the customer and the client. So what is very important in this process, like transferring information from one people to other, what is the most important thing which we need to focus on is at the effective communication. So the communication from one people to other people, the transforming the idea from one people to other people is a more important process, or a more important the thing which we need to focus on in a software development. So let's consider an example now. Let's illustrate. We all know and we all understood the misunderstanding, misconception can happen in communication in a software development. Let's see how it happens. Let's illustrate with an example. Let's consider. we are building a credit card payment system. Okay, so one of the requirements is to make sure that when we are making a system, the user cannot enter a bad data. So how can a business analyst, how can a product owner can tell that? Let's imagine customers must be prevented from entering invalid credit card details. So, if if this is the requirement which we have it from the customer, or from the business analyst who work as a bridge means. So, if we read it from our perspective, we all know, okay, customer should be prevented from entering the invalid card details. Okay, this is valid, right? So, we will make our own assumptions, like so okay, what is the invalid card details, what does it mean, what is the bad data. So certain things are not explained in the requirements, so the customer has an idea to build a payment system. The custom One of the requirement in that idea is that the payment system which they want to develop should not have the invalid details. So what they are communicating is that customers should be prevented from entering invalid card details. So is information is enough? Let's see. Let's read the reiterate the statement which the customer provided already. If a customer enters a card number that isn't exactly 16 digit long, when they try to submit the form, it should be re-displayed with an error message advising them of the correct number of digits. Isn't it more appropriate and precise? Isn't the requirement is more appropriate? What will happen if a developer or a product owner got only the first statement as a requirement, versus what will happen when a product owner got the second statement, which is more precise about the requirements as the requirement. So obviously we all will agree the second statement is more precise, and it is more specific, and it is quantitative with the requirements. So it doesn't leaves much room for us to ambiguity and misunderstanding. It is very clear. It is very precise. So this type of precision is needed in getting the requirements, or in getting the idea. Maybe we can put that in getting that idea from that stakeholders. So how can I get that? So we need to develop an ambiguous language among the stakeholders. So, what is ambiguous language? It is the language which everyone in the team can understand. Let's consider. We all know what is test strategy, what is test plan, what is test scenario, what is test cases. But there is a standard template to follow. But in many of the team members, the in my previous organization when I was working with Wipro, the test cases will be named as test plan. That is an obvious language which we followed in Wipro when we are working in a project, in that project. But when I work in my current organization at Elixir, we have a separate test plan and then test cases. So that is a two different documentations. So uh, that is a language which we use among the team to make to understand the process which we follow. So like that there should be a language which everyone can understand. So, how can we develop a language? We don't need to train a lot. We don't need to research a lot. We have an open source which is named as Cucumber. Cucumber helps us to discovery and the use of the US language within the team. We can set up the standards. It all has all the parameters which we can utilize to form a language which our team can understand. So please make sure, please from this webinar, please make sure if anyone say you that Cucumber is an automation framework, please do not agree. Cucumber is not an automation framework, right? Okay, Cucumber is not at all an automation framework. It is it is a document which if it is an automation framework, it should be handled, maintained, updated only by the automation team, which is the test automation team. But that is not the real case. The Cucumber can help the developers to understand the requirement. If it is an automation framework, the um, um, birth of Cucumber in the SDLC process will be only when we take up the automation. But actually, the birth of Cucumber in the SDLC process will start from the first when we are getting the requirements. So, if anyone says Cucumber is an automation, a test automation framework, please do not accept. This is not a test automation framework. Two, Cucumber also helps to do test automation, but it is not the only tool to do test automation. Cucumber do much other stuff. Okay, as I already told, Cucumber is a living documentation. It is a lively documentation. Like let's say we have a list of requirements from a customer, and let's say if they are making updates, it must be informed to us. It must be informed to the respective higher stakeholders, and then they will be spreading up to among the team. Cucumber can act as that lively documentation, and it is a single source of truth, which means um, I have a let's I have an experience of working in one of the company, which I don't want to obviously don't want to mention the name. Like my test manager will give me a requirement document. So I was doing testing with the set of requirement documents, and I was preparing the test scenarios, test plans, and all. I'm doing it, and then I found a defect, and then I'm raising a defect. So the defect reaches to the developers, and the developers showing a different requirement document which they have referred to make these updates. So when we are discussing it, we found it a new upgraded development requirement document was given to the testing team, but the development team didn't take up the recently updated one. They took a version behind. So it is not a single source of truth, but in case of Cucumber, it is a single source of truth which we keep it live and make it pass on across the team to make the development. Okay? So how Cucumber works? So what is what the Cucumber? How you can implement Cucumber in your project, and how it can help you to solve the problems which you have in your project. Let's say your project will be there, and your project requirements can be converted into features, and then we are aggregating features into scenarios, and we are break downing each scenarios into steps. Okay, and and we are putting the steps into step definitions, and step definitions will have their respective support code, and then we will inject into the automation library. Okay, so it is clearly we are aggregating this process into two. One is business facing, and the other one is technology facing. So what is business facing and what is technology facing? Like, if you can clearly see that the features, the scenarios, the steps, everything is business facing, which means the business stakeholders will take care of these. The business stakeholders must create the feature files. The business stakeholders must segregate it into features, and the business stakeholders must segregate into scenarios and steps. So these all are business facing. Even a non-technical person who doesn't know have experience working with coding, all those stuffs, programming languages, and all the automation frameworks, all those stuffs, can be involved in this process. That is the beauty of Cucumber, and that is the biggest advantage of Cucumber. Anyone who is non-technical, who understand, who manages apps can be involved to do can be a part of this session in Cucumber. Okay, and then the technology part, like step definition, support code, and the automation library. We can see each one in detail in this session, but this technological facing is like more of coding, more of integration of different modules like that. So this is purely technological facing. So this is a place where all the developers step in. This is a place where all the automation testers will step in and uh, do the stuffs. So the Cucumber working process involves both business facing stakeholders and the technological facing stakeholders. It involves both peoples. It's not like only the test automation team member should write the Cucumber feature files and then they can inject it into their framework and then they can work it. No, it's not like that. It's a collaborative effect. This is how the Cucumber works. So, what are the layers of Cucumber? As we already discussed, there are three important layers. When we talk about test automation, as I already mentioned, Cucumber can be useful to the business stakeholders, developers, and all other peoples. But our focus here will be only on test automation because we are more focused towards a testing community. I'm not mostly going into the other areas where Cucumber can be utilized. I'm focusing only on the test automation area. So, what are the major components of Cucumber test? So, the first thing, it needs a feature file. Okay, the feature file should be written in the form of Gherkin language. What is a Gherkin language? We can look into it. No issues. And what is step definition? Step definition, we can write it in any programming languages. It's Cucumber is not specific to any programming language. It can be written only with Java. No, only C sharp. No, no, we can do that. We can write our script in any programming language. The Cucumber is not specific to any programming language, and we should have a runner where we can run the stuffs. So the layers of Cucumber will be feature files, step definitions, and okay. So what is feature files? So as I already told, Cucumber is a living documentation, or that which helps the Among the different layers of Cucumber, the feature files act as that living documentation. So, as I already mentioned, the feature files are written in Kirkin language. So, what is Kirkin language? The Kirkin language have different keywords. It is just a simple notepad file. This is not nothing new or nothing uh, different kind of complex programming languages which we have. This is a simple uh, uh, language. We can easily create the feature files in any of the notepad softwares which you are using. Let's say notepad plus plus, we can use to create a feature file. So, Cucumber tests are grouped into features. Okay, and as I already mentioned, the features are segregated into scenarios, and scenarios are fragmented into steps. So, a feature, it will be like, as I already mentioned, it will be the feature, scenarios, and steps. Okay, and what are the keywords of, I mean, the Gherkin language, the feature files? We have feature, background, scenario, even, when, then, and, but, hashtag, scenario outline, and an example. Okay, so we will see each keywords in detail in a minute. I will explain it to you. And before that, how we can, we have a plenty of requirements, and this is especially to the experienced people who is listening to this. So we have very plenty of requirements, and we have everything in paper. If you want to write a feature, you are a little confused, like how can I write one feature among the requirements which I have. Yes, we do have something called as feature injection template, which means we can use this template to write a feature. Let's say, in order to meet some code, okay, in order to log into an application, in order to make a payment in e-commerce site, in order to what can I say, to make my uh, in order to do a logout scenario. So these are the some of the goals which you want to decide, and as a, so what you are, when you are trying to achieve the goal, in order to log into a scenario as a customer, as a admin, as a let's say, if you're any of the healthcare domain, as a doctor, as a non-clinical person. So what kind of user you are trying to do that? I want to write a feature. So you can use this template. I have used it very many times, much times, and it helped me to write better features. So, so you can utilize this template to do that. Okay, so let's deep dive into the Gherkin language. Okay, so as I mentioned, there are very various others keywords which has been part of Gherkin language. Let's say, let me take you to the take you to one of the. I am opening the notepad. I'm not opening any other thing. Okay, and okay, I'm making it. Okay, so what all we have? We have feature keyword. Okay. So what is the, let's say we are making, we are writing a feature file for login scenario. So so what can you do? I want to write a feature for login scenario as a as an admin user. So what is the feature keyword? It is just in the feature file. If you want to, this feature keyword should tell what this feature is all about, uh, or what this feature file is all about. This feature file, like if you want to test a login module, if you want to test a, a payment module, if you want to test a cart module, if you want to test any specific modules, you want to write in a descriptive way on what it is and with what type of user you are going to do that feature, so you can use it. So this is, it doesn't have any standards. The only standard which you need to follow is that you need to write the keyword feature and then follow the colon. And what can the next one, as we seen here, um, after features it is scenarios. Okay, scenario. What is the scenario? Um, I am to test a happy login scenario. So this is my scenario. Okay, this is bland, a very bland scenario description which I have provided. But let it be features, let it be scenario description. You should be providing more description about the features or the scenarios which you are going to write. Okay. So this is the keyword scenario, and then we can start writing it. Like, uh, then it is the steps. What are the steps, or what are the keywords which you can utilize in the steps? Means we have even, when, then, and, at, and then we have an asterisk. So let's say even the user available in the database. Let's say, okay, given the home is installed the machine when I load the, let's say, Flipkart URL in Chrome, and Flipkart should be loaded. Yes, I enter username and password. Now, so this is a very simple scenario of uh, a successful happy login. So I have made use of given, when, then. So you can see that we have, if you, okay, if you look into the line number 5 and 6, you can see that we have two given statements back to back. In this scenario, we don't need to use this same keyword back to back. Instead, what we can do, we can use an and keyword, like, or you can use a asterisk. Both are acceptable. So we can either use and or use asterisk. Both are acceptable. So these are some of the keywords which you can use in like getting language. I mean, in the feature files. Okay, and we have stateless. What is stateless? How the scenarios can be stateless. So I want to specify this point. Like, uh, each scenario must be written in a point like the test data which the particular scenario here must be available only to that scenario. Let's say if I am making a username password, if I want a user to be available in the database, in this scenario only the user should be created, and the end of the scenario the user should be deleted. The data from one scenario should not pass to the other scenario. We should not write feature files in that perspective. We should not write a dependent feature files. Okay, if you are doing a testing for a particular scenario, we have something called as in TestNG, we have something called as an order. Like we can make a or priority. We can give the numbers 1, 2, 3 into the particular test, and it can execute in that order. Means, or we can make a dependency between the tests. Test, right, depends on methods, depends on groups, depends on test. We have various items, various attributes in test engines. So we can make such dependencies in test engine, but we should not make as such dependencies in a cucumber. So reason is that the data should be used, utilized, and killed within the scenario. It should not be transferred from one scenario to another one. So that is the that defines the stateless nature of. Okay, let's move on. I think we are running out of time. And then we have step definitions. So what is step definitions? Till now we have got an idea. We have a requirement, and we have passed that requirement into a feature file. So we have learned about creating something on what needs to be done. Now we want to tell the machine how it can be done. Okay, so let's say what I am saying is that we have prepared the feature files, and then okay, let me launch my Eclipse. I think it will take some times. So if you prepare the feature files and if you try to run it, it will create some snippets for us like this. Okay, so we need to inject our code based on the feature file steps which we have. Like we will be having, let's take the example which we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps for a login scenario. So this is what we need to do testing. So how to do that in test automation? We will be having a separate set of codes. Like to check the user is available in the database, we'll be having a 2 to 3 lines of codes, and then to install Chrome in the machine to verify whether Chrome is available. To do that verification, we'll be having 3 to 4 lines of codes. To encode the URL, we'll be having some codes, right? Now we need to match the set of codes to each steps. So that is known as step definition. How we can do that? By doing that in a step definition. Okay, let's say I am creating a new feature file here, and file I'm running login flipkart dot feature. Okay, populate it. I don't want this. So I'm copying this feature file and then I'm pasting it. So what I'm doing is I'm right clicking on it and then I'm running that Cucumber feature file. So it will execute. So when you see in the console, you can see that it has created snippets for us. Different types of snippets as well created. for the step definitions. So what I'm doing, I'm copying it and I'm making a new step definition. Step definition is nothing but a Java class or any class which we are looking. Step definition for Flipkart. Now you can clearly see. Wait, let me load some of the. Okay, then load some of the. Now you can clearly see that we had five, six different steps. We have written six different steps, and for each step we had a method which was treated as a snippet. You can see that we haven't even the user available in the database. You can see that the given with an annotation at given the user is available in the database, and then a method has been created with the name value, and then we have something like that. So if we have a, let's say if we I have I loaded the Flipkart URL of Romans, we will be having a set of how to load the URL, so we can place those codes into this method, so that for every line of steps which we have will have its respective implementation. So this is what a step definition do. This is what a step definition will achieve. Like we are converting a business facing document into a technical document. So this is achievable only through Cucumber, not any other tools. So coming back to this is what I have mentioned. Um, right. So coming back to the step definition, as I told, what need to do, we need to do. Uh, the step definitions are converting our business facing documents into a technical document. To answer the question how we can do that, and then once we update all the snippets which we have created, we can inject it into our automation framework, and we can make the runner, and we can run it. So, what is the two heights of the step definition? It translates the plain language into code, and then it will get injected in the automation code. So, these are the two steps of an step definition. So, and each scenario is made up of series of steps, and steps need to be a step definition to bring it to life. So, this is what we have also. So this is a small example which we have just seen in our case. So we all know what is Pascal notation, and we all know what is camel case. So the yeah, name convention, like these snippets, you can see that you can in our example you can see that the snippets of the method name of the snippets are created with an underscore. So I underscore load underscore d underscore Flipkart underscore URL underscore e in underscore Chrome. So this type of naming convention is known as snake case. All the snippets in Cucumber will be created in snake case, and it's not mandatory to leave that method name as it is. We can rename it. I can rename it. I load the Flipkart URL in Chrome. This is also acceptable. So Cucumber doesn't just provide you some of the rules, it also allows us to do customization in the rules which it was like. Okay, that's why Cucumber is more useful for us. And types of methods, I mean, types of different arguments capturing in step definition. So, in let's say in our example, in our example of cucumber, in the feature file, we are passing the username and password. Let's say I'm splitting it as two different things, and I password. Okay. Now I want to pass the username and password here. I'm making like username as test user and then password as test. So now I I am passing two arguments, I mean test data from the feature file into our automation code or into the step definition. How it can be captured, how the test data can be captured into step definitions which were passed in the feature files. There are many other ways. Okay, so let's say there are different ways. Okay, if I want to uh, 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 make it as a group, this is one way where we can pass it, and we can pass the number. I have written this example based on the one of the example, like if I want to deposit a particular amount into the account means. So all the types of capturing I have written in that way. Okay, so capture groups is a one type of receiving the arguments from the feature files. Alteration. Let's say if you want to, if you want two different steps which need to be handled by one uh, uh, method. Let's say I have two different steps. One is when I have deposited $100 in my account, and in another scenario, I have when I have deposited $150 in my account. Okay, so if we want to handle both these steps in a one step definition method, we can use it alteration method with this type of syntax 100 or 250. So this is one of the receiving argument receiving methods, and we have a dot method where we can get any number of any values, any strings, any numbers which we is ended from the feature files, we can retrieve it here. And this star modifier is also very similar to the dot operator. And the character class, if you want to use regex, let's say if you want to say that the arguments will be from the value of 0 to 9 means, you can make it like this, or we can use the shorter character also, like if you want to in regex we have various shortener characters like slash slash d slash slash w slash slash s slash slash, or you can make use of that into our step definition also. And there are multiple catches also, not only one not only one arguments which we can catch it from the feature file, we can also catch it multiple arguments using multiple keywords and the respective arguments we can pass it to the methods. Okay? So just with the multiple captures, and then the question mark operator. Let's say let's take this steps at 9 and 40. I have one cucumber in my basket. I have 256 cucumbers in my basket. So if you want to write a step definition which can handle both these steps means, it can use the question mark character. So most of the times the question mark character is used whenever a plural is need to be handled between two steps in a one step definition. Okay, so that is with the step definition capturing the arguments. And Results. So, what are the different results which you can see in a cucumber? So, cucumber is not a tool which is only pass fail. We have more information on that. We have more way to analyze to get the results in cucumber. So, we have failed, we have pending, we have undefined, we have skipped and passed. Let's say I have a series of steps which need to be automated. Let's say in one of my step, let's say in a line number 7, I am facing a error means all the steps will be skipped. None of the step will be executed. Let's say some of the items are not defined in the step definition, which means it will be under undefined. And let's say I'm still writing the step definition for any one of the feature. I can make a pending exception row, and then it can throw out the pending exception. Failed is obvious, past is also obvious. So this is a cucumber will provide us different varieties of results which can make us to improve our efficiency of uh, writing the automation codes. And a small execution scenario, like how the cucumber can able to execute a particular scenario. Like if you want to execute a scenario, it will read the first step first. And in the first step, it will check whether it have a matching step definition or not. If not, if it doesn't have a matching step, it will throw it as undefined scenario. If it have a matching step, it will execute the step definition block. Once the step definition block is executed, if it's or it will throws an exception, and then it will pass on to the failed scenarios. And then if you have more steps to execute after a failed scenario, it will make it as skipped scenarios. And if all the scenarios are passed, it will make it as passed scenarios. So this is how a Cooper will execute a scenario. So team, I think I have covered a high level view of what Cucumber is, and how it can be useful to a business and software development. And I think this session was useful to you. So please let me know if you have any questions to the question to me. I'll be very happy to take up the questions.
So we have few questions from the attendees. I'll just show them on the stage.
Sure.
So Shine is asking this question: is there any specific definition when we need to use when, then, and but in feature file?
Okay. So there are two different ways to understand the question. When, then, and in feature file, we need there is no specific definition or rules which was laid by Cucumber to use it. But please remember, writing feature files is to making us understand what the actual requirement is. So it is better to use it in a literary way of n, n and. But there is no specific rules to it. But when you come to step definition, when, then, and, but, all the keywords doesn't have any meaning to it, because the step definition is purely based on the steps which we write and not on the keyword.
Understood. Understood. I hope that answers your question, Shine. We have another question from Sandeep. Is it reasonable to say that starting using feature injection template requires a cross-functional shared understanding on purpose goal of system under development? Do you see some anti patterns?
Um, it is the feature injection template is not something to write the requirement or any other thing. It's just used to uh, write the feature files. It, we have seen the feature keyword, right? So we need to write a descriptive sentence in the feature to make understand the stakeholders who read the feature files of what it is. So the feature injection template is just to write it, and we don't have any patterns or templates or rules to write it. It's all within us. It's all within the make understand. The feature injection template can help us to write the description of the feature, and also to segregate the how to segregate the features. It can be useful in that scenarios.
Got it, understood. We have another question. We have a question by Gayatri. In Cyprus, can cucumber be used?
I never uh, used it, but to my knowledge, cucumber is not anything specific to a particular tool or not. It can be used across any tools.
Understood. Understood. So one last question that I have, it's from Anil. The question is, what challenges you faced while using Cucumber, and how did you handle them?
Okay, so my challenge is that in uh, uh, in my previous organization, in our current organization, we are laying a process of writing feature files and cucumbers. So we are still in the initial stage, and then we are use it also. But I will take an example from my previous organization. Uh, so we when writing feature files, we've got repetitive steps which was differently named in each feature. So let's say user is logging in to an application. This is a step, and we have written a step definition according to that, according to this step. So there are different people who are working to a product, and they are writing in their own language. They will be writing like the uh, user logs into an application. The user is entering the username and the password to log into the application. They are using the different sentences to make this same functions again and again. So what it costs us is that it it creates multiple methods which is doing the same set of actions. So this is one of the problems which we faced when multiple peoples are running, people are writing the feature files. So how we fixed it is that we gave the uh, uh, knowledge on how the cucumber steps should be, how we can reuse the existing steps, and how we can make effective use of existing steps in other features. So we have provided the knowledge, and the issue was clear.
Okay, okay, understood. I hope that answers your question, Anil. So that ends most of the questions we had. Yeah. Thank you so much, Maheshwaran. It was a really in-depth and good session with demo. So, like, really enjoyed it. Really learned a lot.
Thank you.
Once more, thank you to all the attendees who have ahead. And once again, thank you so much, Maheshwaran. It was a lovely session.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone who has attended. Hope I have provided something. Thank you.
Thank
Have
you
a
so
nice
much.
weekend all. Thank you.
Okay, then bye everyone. Have a nice day.